Well, welcome, ladies and gents. Shazam! Fury of the Gods looks like it's going to be a bomb. Interesting. Now, I'm not going to say, trust this out and out 100%. We had projections for Ant-Man and the Wasp being in like the $280 million range, and that opened to $225 million worldwide. So, these are literally just projections. They're interesting to take a look at. But there are some elements in this which I would agree with, and some maybe I wouldn't. But long-range box office forecast, DC's Shazam, Fury of the Gods, early outlook. Yeah, interesting. This is a box office pro. So again, like I say, the projections for Ant-Man and the Wasp were 280 initially. Now, interestingly enough, Shazam is going to be opening up against 65, which I do think will actually be a pretty key competitor for this movie. It's not the same audience, but there's enough of a crossover where I think people will choose 65 over Shazam. And the trailers for Shazam, I liked the first one. It was fine. Had a good, solid story in terms of its message about family and blood and sort of foster families and things like that. I thought it was quite a nice messaged film. Yeah, I still think the trailers for this aren't that great. So I think that's definitely going to hit it. But anyway, Box Office Pro says this week's early tracking rundown highlights the year's first of 4 planned DC Extended Universe films from Warner Brothers Pictures. Preliminary forecasts for other upcoming titles are available in the chart per usual. So we'll kind of take a look and see what they open up against. Anyway, now the pros, as they say. The first Shazam was a mid-range comic book adaptation success with $53.5 million in its domestic opening and strong reception from both critics, 90%, and audiences, 82%, on Rotten Tomatoes. It ultimately earned $140.5 million in North America and over $366 million globally on a modest, for superhero movies, $100 million production budget, which is tiny. That is a tiny, tiny, tiny budget. Genuinely minuscule. And the thing is, I think Shazam as a movie was, not a bad one. I enjoyed it myself. But it's that element of, it's the Morbius effect. So Morbius is a film that actually has good reviews, but no one went to watch it because no one was interested. And I think Shazam is a similar thing. People saw the trailers, were like, I'm not bothered about this, I'm just not going to go watch it. So the people that did watch it were primed to like it and give it a good, strong review. Now, another pro that Box Office Pro states is early social buzz for Shazam! Fury of the Gods is enthusiastic about the return of Zachary Levi and the cast from the first film, as well as the addition of Helen Mirren, Lucy Liu, and others. Though not quite up to the levels of Black Adam ahead of its release. Key metric comps at this stage include Uncharted, Fantastic Beasts, and Morbius, the film I just compared it to. Now, they say if the sequel lives up to the family-friendly accessibility of its predecessor, another solid run could be expected during the spring break corridor. It's not looking likely in terms of what they're putting it down as. So the cons. Although well received, the first film was not as leggy at the box office as other popular superhero origin stories, though its mid to late life cycle was notably cut short by Avengers Endgame. I don't think that would have mattered, in fairness. In this case, Shazam! Fury of the Gods goes up against male-driven competition with the second frame of Creed 3, followed by John Wick Chapter 4 in Weekend 2, Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves in Weekend 3, and a family-driven tentpole with the Super Mario Bros. Movie in Weekend 4. But they also don't note that it is literally opening up against 65. Which means that Sony is very confident in 65. There were some reports going around that Sony are test screening 2 versions of the film. I don't think that's the case. From what I've heard, I don't think that's the case. I could be wrong, but no, that's not actually happening. So trailer sentiment measurements aren't quite up to the level of those of the first film at the same time before release, though marketing and early reviews could still have some say in that over the next few weeks. And the thing is, there isn't much buzz about this film. People just aren't really that interested in it. With some consumer confusion, particularly outside die-hard fans, about the state of the DC cinematic universe, As it prepares to transition into a new era under new leadership, some casual moviegoers' interest may wane for the sequel. So they're even noted. Box Office Pro are even noting that people are just confused, they don't understand, and they're not interested as a result of that. But you know what? Yeah, I can see that makes sense. Now here's what they're putting it as. So, untitled Crunchyroll film. I don't know what that is, and you'd think that would have a release date or a title by now. Cocaine Bear, I think, is actually going to do much more than that. I can see Cocaine Bear doing about $40 million. Easily. In fact, easily. $40 million. A Jesus Revolution. Okay. My Happy Ending, Mummies. Creed. They say Creed 3 is going to open up about like $100 million on the high end. That's really high. Really high. Demon Slayer. They're saying only $21 million. I think that would do more than that. 65. $47 million. I think that's going to be a sleeper hit. I genuinely think that's going to be a sleeper. I think people are going to really love 65. Like, absolutely. And this is the thing. Only 8 million, 13 million domestic? Nah. Nah, I don't see that at all. I think that was domestic, wasn't it? 3-day opening. Okay, so they're saying... What? They think... Oh my god. Wow, sorry, let me just readjust. They think Cocaine Bear is only going to hit 36 million total domestic. No. I can honestly see Cocaine Bear doing about $40 million domestic. Just domestic. Not domestic total, like domestic opening weekend. Wow. I'm probably going to be way off on this. But yeah, Creed 3, they think only $95 million domestic. I'm surprised by that. You think more. 65, they only think $47 million domestic. Again, I can see much more. And then we scroll down to Shazam! Fury of the Gods. They only think it'll do $136 million domestic. I think that's too low. But here's their opening weekend, $43 to $52 million. I mean, that is abysmal. If it does that, that is terrible. You won't be getting any further sequels to this. Nothing happening in the new DCU with James Gunn. If it does $52 million and $100 million domestic. Oof. Big oof. But let me know what you guys think down below. Again, there's just no buzz for this film. You know, and I'm mildly excited for it. I enjoyed the first one, just as a bit of a dumb popcorn flick. So yeah, I'll be keen to see this under that context. But let me know what you think down below. Cheers, ladies and gents. Take care.